Dick Vitale, how are you, Dick?
I'm doing really good, Rich. I just feel so bad, though, with, a couple of colleagues, really. I call them colleagues. I've worked their games so many times, seeing them all now going to hoops heaven when you talk about certainly Dean Smith and right now Jerry Tarkanian. But way of life, my friend. Hey, you're doing really well. Happy for you. I don't think there was any doubt you were going to be a success. And I know you still love your maize and blue.
I do love my maize and blue, as you know. But I do want to hit with you about Dean Smith first and then Jerry Tarkanian next. Dean Smith, how did he change the game, Dick Vitale?
Well, when you talk about Dean Smith, Rich, you think about a guy who was so innovative and so creative. He set a tone that coaches today are utilizing all over the nation. For example, you point to a guy after you make a basket and he gave you a great assist. He's the one that started with, identify the guy that gave you the ball. And that was all about building team camaraderie. He was the one that came with the huddle at the free throw line. He was the one that came up with the run and jump defense, scramble defense to take people out of any rhythm offensively. He did so many things, the four corners. He spread the court, put the ball in his great point guard, Phil Ford's hands, and, man, you were just waving a white handkerchief because it was over. But he was so far ahead. But you know what, Rich? We could talk about his basketball achievements. They probably don't even come close to what he achieved away from the basketball court. He was so unique. I mean, he was way ahead of his time. He was about equality. He was about civil rights. He was about doing the right thing. Brought in the first African-American in North Carolina to play, Charlie Scott. Just a terrific humanitarian. And I've never heard, I swear to you, I have never heard. I'm at ESPN now 36 years. I've done I don't know how many North Carolina games. I have never heard a bad word from a player that ever was fortunate enough to wear the Carolina blue.
Dick Vitale joining me here on the Rich Eisen show. That's the passing of Dean Smith. And then, as you mentioned when we first started talking, Jerry Tarkanian passed away at age 84. And he's sort of, I guess, personality-wise on the opposite side of the spectrum from Dean Smith. Would that be an accurate way to put it, Dick?
Yeah, and there's no question. Contrasting styles, different personalities, but they both really, their style led to winning, and they both were such winners, and they accomplished so much facing the incredible pressure that they faced night in and night out, because everyone they played against, Rich, just like right now when I do a Kentucky game I had the other night, or you do a Duke game, people play at such a level against them that they got to match that commitment every night they're on the floor. And certainly Dean Smith and Jerry Tarkanian had to do that with their teams because everyone wanted to beat them. Everyone wanted to beat them. And what really made Jerry so unique was his ability to really get his players to buy into his philosophy and play with the intensity and the emotion and the team concept that he taught. I used to be mesmerized when I go to practice and watch how hard they practice, and his intensity was unbelievable, and it rubbed off on his players. I labeled them, Rich, during his career. I labeled Dean Smith Michelangelo. In fact, Dean would say to me before games, I'd walk over and he said, "Why do you call me Michelangelo? I'm not in that league." And I said, "Come on, Coach, you're like a genius late in the game. Some of the things, the miraculous comebacks." And Jerry Tarkanian, I labeled Father Flanagan. If you had a problem, Rich, you were an athlete, things weren't going well, you had a little bit of a problem, made some mistakes in your life, he'd give you that second shot. And I'm telling you, he did unbelievable work with you because he, again, like Dean Smith, talk to anybody that wore his uniform. Go talk to a Larry Johnson or a Stacey Augmon or an Anderson Hunt or a George Ackles. Greg Anthony. Talk to any of these guys, and they will flat out tell you how he was like a father figure. And I got another one quick story about Jerry. He was amazing. If you walked in a casino with Jerry and you went down to work, I thought I was working with Francis Albert Sinatra. I'm telling you, it was like the man who owned Vegas. I used to call him Mr. Las Vegas, man.
Yeah.
You walk in there, he was like a hero.
Yeah, basketball's Mo Green, essentially, if you think about that. Did you ever ask him what he was doing with the towels, sucking on the towels, Dick? What was that all about? for those who may not know?
Nervousness, tension, a lot of tension. Used to tease him about that. I got another great story involving me. My wife wanted to see Paul Anka to show you how big he is in Vegas.
Sure.
My wife wanted to see Paul Anka. It was when he was really hot, and this is years ago. So I'm coming in town, going to get tickets for Paul Anka. I don't call Tark up, and he finds out I'm in town. He calls me up. He said, what's this? You're in town, you don't call me up. I said, Jerry, tonight I can't go in. My wife wants to see Paul Anka. He said, Dick, you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And he says, I'm having a party for me tonight. It's like an incredible bash they're throwing. Everybody in Vegas that's anybody is going to be there, and I want you there. I said, I can't go, Jerry. I got to go with my wife. He says, I'm telling you, you're going to be there because, number one, and number two, I'm going to take care of you. You're going to go see Paul Anka. He said, the 11 o'clock show. So now I go to the party, and I'm looking at the clock, and my wife's going, it's 10 o'clock. What are we doing? I said, Jerry, it's 10 o'clock. I got to leave. I got to go. Dick, you're leaving 10:30. All of a sudden, he brings over a lady to me, said, she's going to drive you to the Golden Nugget. Well, I go outside, the valet there, she valets the car, and all of a sudden, a guy comes, and a gold Rolls Royce comes up. She starts driving the Rolls Royce. My wife and I are sitting in the back, and we're looking at it, we're nudging each other. What is this? And now we pull up to the Golden Nugget, and man, I thought I was with the Pope. When she got out of the car, everybody that was working there, I mean, Miss Elaine this, Miss Elaine that. It was Elaine Wynn, the owner with Steve Wynn of the Golden Nugget at that time, and we, needless to say, sat right up front, but that was Jerry Tarkanian, man. He knew everybody, and he's going to be so missed, but he was such a winner. He won everywhere he ever coached on a collegiate level. Junior college, Long Beach State, Vegas, Fresno. He just had a way, again, players to play to the level of ability that he wanted.
Yeah, and an all-time character. Dick Vitale joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's get to the here and now. Our poll question today at richeisenshow.com, Dick, is will Kentucky lose a game in the regular season? And I guess we're going to throw the SEC tournament into that as well. What do you think about the Kentucky Wildcats' chances to stay undefeated this year?
You know, I had them the last game. I've had them several times this year, and they're not dominating, obviously, like they did earlier. I mean, early in the year, they were scary, man. What they did to teams like North Carolina, UCLA. I mean, they got UCLA down 4 touchdowns, Rich, before they even blink an eye. I mean, it was brutal. I think they scored I forgot the number, but 7 at the half. I mean, it was unbelievable. They took Kansas, held them with 19% shooting, embarrassed them. But now, all of a sudden, league play, they're starting to have a little bumps in the road, but they find a way to win. I had them Tuesday night against LSU. They were on the ropes down 6 with about 3 minutes left on the clock. Last 5 possessions, they just shut LSU down and won at the end. They find a way to win. I think you're going to see them go back and play. I think they keep saying we're playing like we did earlier, but I think emotionally it's just not the same. And everyone else is playing, like I said earlier, at such a level against them. I have them again Saturday. I have them again Tuesday. I got them against Tennessee. ESPN wants me. You know, they're the biggest draw on TV. I mean, their ratings versus other colleges, it's not even close. And John Calipari's done an amazing job with that program. It's not an easy place to coach, Rich, because over there they got fans that are probably the most passionate fans you can ever meet, and they just want winning, and winning.
I got Dick Vitale here on the Rich Eisen Show, one of my favorite follows on Twitter, at DickieV. And when you follow you on Twitter, Dick, we see you talk about your Tampa Bay Rays. You're a big sports fan. It's not just about college hoops with you. So I want to give you the floor on how the Super Bowl ended, Dick Vitale. A lot of people saying that's one of the worst play calls in the history of the NFL. What are your thoughts on the way Super Bowl 49 came down?
Well, you know, first of all, let's get one thing factual right out there. Pete Carroll's a great coach. He's not a good coach. You can't win like he did and when he won in college the way he did and win with Seattle the way he's done. However, obviously, I mean, I threw it right up immediately. We had a party. We were watching the game, a bunch of us, and I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, you got Marshawn Lynch. I just always talk about, you know, let's relate back years ago before you were even born. Number 32, man, with the Cleveland Browns. If that ball's on the other, and if he would have come back and and said, well, Coach Paul Brown, they're all going to know I'm going to get the football. He would simply say, Jim, you see your paycheck, man? You see your paycheck versus those guys that block? Get it in the end zone, big fella. And Lynch would have gotten it in the end zone. There's no doubt, and I'm sure Pete is dying on the inside. It was not a logical call to make. To throw that ball and give yourself a chance for an interception down there was not a heady play at all. And I'm sure Mr. Belichick is going to not be a great guy, just like Tom Brady was, in giving up that car and giving it up to Butler. I'm sure Mr. Belichick's going to be a great, great guy. And when they get their Super Bowl rings, he's going to have one made from the Patriots and ship to Mr. Carroll and say, at least put this in your trophy case.
Dick, you are the best. You know, again, you're one of my favorites that I got a chance to meet at the Worldwide Leader in Sports. What you do for the Jimmy V Foundation, what you do for ESPN, what you do for college basketball, what you do for college kids, what you do for kids of all ages is the stuff of greatness, Dick. And I really appreciate you calling in, and I hope we get you back real soon.
Hey, Rich, anytime for you, buddy. And I want to simply close with this since you brought up the V Foundation.
Yep.
I have a new book out, Rich. It's called It's Awesome, Baby. It's all about my life and stories about my life as a kid and as growing up. And in the book, the big thing for me is I dedicate the book in the back to 10 youngsters. Their pictures are there. They've all been with me, them and their families, most of them, at my gala over the years. We have a Dick Vitale gala raising money for kids battling cancer. We've raised $12 million so far. It's nearly not enough because these 10 ultimately lost their lives. And every dollar that I would get, not 80 cents, 90 cents, every dollar from the sale of my new book that I would get is going toward research grants. And my goal with my gala again this year is to raise over $2 million. So I beg people, if you'd like an autographed copy, to go to DickVitaleOnline.com, or if you just want a copy, go to Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. But if you want an autographed one, go to DickVitaleOnline.com, and you'll be helping us raise dollars to help kids battling cancer, because there's nothing worse, Rich. I do a lot of speaking, motivational all over this country, and I really could tell you, when I was asked to speak at a funeral for one of those children, it was the toughest speech I ever had to give in my life. Watching a mom and dad putting their child to rest just takes your heart out.
Dick, you're the best. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks a lot, Rich. Appreciate it, buddy.
You bet. That's Dick Vitale. Again, to go to DickVitaleOnline.com to get an autographed copy of It's Awesome, Baby, his new book that you can also get at Amazon and on Barnes & Noble and other bookstores, and help raise money.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.